Let's talk about treatment. So although PCOS is not curable, it's not a life sentence. There are many ways in which hormonal balance can be maintained in women. So we are going to break down managing and living with PCOS into two big heads. One is talking about managing the cause by itself, and the second is about managing your symptoms. So when we talk about the cause, lifestyle changes play a big role in reducing your weight and sort of treating the cause of PCOS in your body. So, what are the lifestyle changes that you can do? It's the most common advice that most doctors give, and that is reduce your weight and start working out. For most women, even for the lean PCOS people, working out really helps because exercise increases insulin sensitivity in your body. So, how much exercise we do? And the one that is actually recommended is you need to work out more than 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise a week. Now, the patients that are obese or have higher BMIs can have a lot of aerobic exercise, do whatever works for you, be consistent with your exercise. For patients who are lean PCOS patients, I would suggest that better alternative for you is resistance training. Your goal is to not reduce weight, your goal is to develop muscle. So that's the sort of exercise you need to be going for. Then the second thing is weight loss. Exercise will have your weight loss, but you also need to make some dietary changes. If PCOS patients have even around 10% of weight loss, you can see that their hormones are getting back into balance, that their cycles are becoming regular again. So when we are starting off a patient with counseling, we always insist that keep a target of minimum 10% of your present weight loss. As far as diet goes, you could cut out your processed foods, you could cut out sugar foods, you could cut out alcohol and fried foods, and that really helps patients with weight loss. Then the third thing is insulin sensitizers. So insulin sensitizers just make your body more responsive to the insulin that's normally being secreted in your body. They don't create new insulin and they don't drop your blood sugar. In insulin sensitizers, the most important drug that's discussed is metformin. Metformin, also we have seen in patients that metformin not only improves the insulin sensitivity, it also reduces appetite. So patients that are obese due to overeating also benefit with weight loss from metformin use. In patients that cannot take any other medications, such as oral contraceptives for any reason, metformin is a good option for these patients as well. And metformin does not cause a sudden drop in blood sugar or anything like that, and it's pretty safe. We've seen that it's pretty safe clinically when given to patients. Next slide, please. The next thing that we talk about is managing symptoms. So we've broken it down to managing irregular periods, acne, hirsutism, and planning for a child, or patients that come with infertility. So when we are talking of irregular periods, the most common medication that is offered to women is an oral contraceptive. What it does is this, since they are artificially hormones that are given into your body, it regulates that disrupted hormonal imbalance that has been happening. So they give a positive feedback to the hormone called GnRH that we spoke about and sort of start regulating the whole cycle top to bottom. Then the second most bothersome complaint or symptom that women are troubled with is acne. And some of the treatments that we offer are oral contraceptives that are very beneficial even on the acne, even on the hirsutism that patients have. And then topical treatments or skin treatments directly to apply to your skin, antibiotic creams, and we encourage people to follow strict skincare routines that you need to clean your face. You cannot use too heavy makeup products. You need to use a correct kind of moisturizer that would suit your skin. And there are multiple options offered by gynecologists for patients who have resistant acne or very difficult to get rid of acne, such as chemical peels or a course of antibiotics for patients that need it. Then the third symptom that we can talk about is hirsutism, or that excess hair growth that bothers patients. We offer oral contraceptives that do help a lot because they also help in indirectly reducing the testosterone in your body. Then there are certain medications that, such as a diuretic, also called a spironolactone, that helps patients by reducing the testosterone that's produced in your body and reducing the hirsutism. If you want a non-drug treatment, you could go for depilation treatments such as shaving, waxing, and then laser hair removal. When we are talking about removal treatments on short term, shaving with a woman's razor is better than waxing because waxing can lead to skin reactions. We actually had a very interesting skincare session with a dermatologist, and these are some of the recommendations that she had suggested then. And the last is planning for a child. So a lot of women who with PCOS struggle with infertility, and the option that we offer to them is ovulation induction. And by that I mean you are given a medicine for multiple eggs in your ovary to mature and release themselves. And then once these eggs are released from the ovary successfully or ovulation is done successfully, these patients can conceive. Even when planning for a child, patients are given the advice of losing their weight, of making the necessary, and these do tend to work very, very positively. A nutritionist is better than me to address these concerns. I would just like to say that if you notice that your acne are going up with dairy, then you could probably stay away from it. But otherwise, anything in excess is really bad. So whatever you're consuming, if you're taking too much of dairy, if you're having too much of milk products, it's probably best to stay away from them. We do find that dairy has some benefits in vegetarian people because that's a good source of calcium in their body. So if you're not consuming any other things, then you could continue taking milk, whatever you're taking. My suggestion would be a dermatologist's opinion trumps mine. And I would recommend that you take supplements. You make sure that if you have a B12 deficiency, you have it corrected. If you have anemia, make sure that you don't have anemia. If you have it, have the necessary supplement and have it corrected. And generally, if your testosterone level drops, that hair fall is also going to reduce by itself. Some amount of hair fall is going to keep happening with age.